Yo guys, what's going on? I hope you're doing well. So today I'm going to be giving you my Premier League prediction for the 2021 season. Now I know what you're going to say, Ben, why are you doing this? We're already 3 weeks into the season. I don't know. I don't have an excuse. I just want to jump on it. It's 3 weeks. Anything could happen in the Prem. I have actually already done a prediction on my TikTok. However, since I've done that video, there have been some major transfers that have actually swayed my views. So I'm going to do an updated one here for you now. So things that we have to cover, what's it going to be? Obviously, we'll be looking at the whole 20, but we're going to be looking at bottom 3, top 4, biggest flop, and biggest underdog. So there's going to be some controversial decisions, to say the least. Right, let's get into it. Starting off with my relegation 3. In last place, I do believe it's going to be Norwich. I'm sorry, Norwich fans. I know you're probably screaming at me, but we've got to be honest with ourselves. So Norwich are a team that go up and down and up and down. They don't have that force to stay in the Prem. So for me, Norwich are bottom. In 19th place, we are going to go with Watford. Again, they are one of the newly promoted teams this season. I don't think they've got enough firepower. The likes of Sarr is a nice looking player. However, I don't think they've got enough to stay in the Prem this season. 18th place. My final relegation spot is quite a controversial one. There's going to be a few people that disagree with this, but I do think it's going to be Southampton that are going to be dropped out of the Prem this season. Towards the end of last season, Southampton did flirt with relegation. Their form properly dipped. I don't think A, they're going to be scoring enough goals with Danny Ings not being there, and B, Vestergaard is a rock at the back, so I think without him, they're going to ship a lot more goals. 17th place, we have gone for Brentford. Of the 3 championship sides that have come up this season, Brentford do look like they're playing the most exciting football we've seen out of the 3. And they've got the likes of Ivan Toney, who to me is a Premier League striker. Even if they do go down, I do think Toney's going to stay. I don't think they're going to go down this season, so I'm putting them nicely in at 17. Now, 16th place, we are going to go with Newcastle. To me, Newcastle are just becoming one of those teams where they don't have any sort of firepower now. They've got Saint Maximin, who I think is an absolutely fantastic winger. He can do a lot of damage to these other bottom half teams. And they've also added Callum Wilson to their attack, who I do think looks like a decent goal scorer and will stay in the Prem. But other than that, I don't really see anyone in Newcastle that's going to light the place up. So 16th for me. 15th is Burnley's. Big Dutch ball. You know what you're getting with Burnley. There is an argument to say that they will go down. They're playing the same sort of football and they're not as difficult to beat at Turf Moor as they once were. Burnley away was always quite a difficult fixture. You know, you take a 1-0 sort of thing, but now people are pumping them. So I don't know. I don't think that they're quite bad enough to get relegated. However, I do think they're going to place 15th. 14th is going to go to Palace. They're one of those teams you'd never expect anything special. Certainly not a top half finish. They have signed Edouard from Celtic, I believe, who could look like a good player. We've not actually seen him. They signed him right at the end of the transfer window, so who knows? He could be a very good addition. However, to me, they're just a bit of a bogey team, Palace. They don't achieve anything. They don't drop out. They're just there. So to me, 14th. 13th place for me is going to be Brighton. Now, I'm going to say this, right? I love Brighton's style of play. The way Graham Potter has Brighton playing is nothing short of Nou Camp-esque at times. But here's the thing. Brighton don't have the quality to finish. That was the whole joke of last season, wasn't it? The fact that Brighton they just couldn't finish anything. I really do like Brighton. I can't lie. They're one of those teams that just knock the ball about. They play some lovely, lovely football. And they can beat anyone on their day. So, for me, 13th. 12th. Oh, I'm going to get some hate for this one. Right, 12th. I have gone with Leeds. Now, I understand that Leeds play very fast-flowing attacking football, very on the front foot, but as much as I think Bielsa is a very good manager, I do think he needs to do some sort of tactic change. He can't just go all guns blazing out every single game, because as we've seen already in the season, they got pumped 5 goals by United, so I do think that's going to hinder them towards the later stages of the season. Bearing in mind we have just played the Euros and we're going straight into this season, you know, people are going to start getting injured, people are going to pull up, they can't afford to make these 90-minute sprints all the time. I do think that's what's going to hinder Bielsa's men this season, so for me, they are going to finish 12th. Now, 11th. This is probably the biggest shout of the video, and there's a slight argument to say that this is the biggest flop, but also not, if you know what I mean. So, 11th, I'm saying is Arsenal, but I can't be the only one to say that Arsenal are an absolute car crash this season. As it stands, we are currently 3 weeks into the Prem, and Arsenal haven't scored a goal. Granted, okay, they've played City and Chelsea, but they also played Brentford, who are a newly promoted side. But to not even score a goal, concede 9, and be bottom of the Premier League table, I know we're only 3 weeks in, but that is very worrying signs for Arsenal fans. They have also spent the most in the Premier League this transfer window, which is crazy to me, because realistically, who have they signed to better their squad? I mean, I might be wrong, but if Arteta's still in the job at Christmas, I'll be absolutely amazed. 10th place is another London club, and also a slightly controversial one, but I am going to say West Ham. Don't get me wrong, they've started the season very well. I believe they're sitting in top 4. They might even be second for all I know. Antonio has started the season firing really well. He's looking good. However, I would have said they would finish higher if they'd re-signed Jesse Lingard, because I think he was a massive, massive influence for them last season, and a reason why they finished where they did. However, because they haven't re-signed him, I just don't think they've got as much fire as they did last season. Now, 9th place, and the spot that I am going to be giving the biggest flop to for the season is Aston Villa. So Villa have sold Grealish for 100 mil. They've spent the money, to be fair, very well. They've brought in Leon Bailey from Leverkusen. They brought in Buendia from Norwich, who's a fantastic player and I am a big fan of. They've had Watkins coming back from injury and Danny Ings, which is a strike partnership that I am very keen to see how it plays out. But having said all this, I just don't know if they're going to gel with the new signings, and losing Grealish, he was such a pivotal player for them in creating chances last season. So for me, they are going to be the biggest flop and finish 9th this season. 8th place for me is going to be Everton. Now, I will be honest, I do see Everton as one of those teams, similar to how I described Palace, in that they are just there. They don't win much in terms of trophies or European spots. They don't really finish in the bottom half of the table. I think Everton are going to be one of those teams that are just going to upset the teams around them, basically. They're going to take a few points off the top 4 teams every now and then, but I don't think they're going to have a competition place themselves come the end of the season. That's what I believe Everton are going to be. They're just going to be there to upset the teams around them, obviously. But you know what I mean. 7th spot for me, and the team that's going to be taking the biggest underdog is Wolves. Now, I know that's a big shout, but I get that Wolves are on 0 points after 3 games, but I do think in those 3 games that they've played very well, and they have only had 1-0 losses, which could be said it's just unfortunate, but I do think that the football that they've been playing has been very entertaining. And with the likes of Adama Traore being linked away, but also now staying, and the return of Jimenez, I do think they're going to be a bit of a force. They've even got some really nice new additions to the team. Trincao looks like a fantastic player and looks to be the replacement for Jota that they finally needed. And they've also signed Hwang Hee-chan, who is, if you play FIFA, you know he's an absolute goat on the game. So Wolves away, I do think is going to be a very difficult fixture. So for that reason, I've put them at 7th. The first Europa League spot and the 6th place team I have chosen is Leicester. Now, I would put Leicester in the top 3 for best transfer windows this season. I think they've bought incredibly well, and the way they go about their business is absolutely insane. For example, they lost Fofana in a pre-season. He snapped his leg. It was horrible. And what did they do? They just went out and bought a rival top draw Premier League proven centre-back in Vestergaard for 15 mil, which in this market is an absolute steal. They've got a new striker in Patson Daka, who to me looks very exciting. I think he's going to do really well in the Prem, especially playing second fiddle to Vardy. Even with signing the likes of Babakary Samare, I think he's going to be fantastic with the years to come. Don't get me wrong, he's got a lot to learn, but I think being in a Leicester side, playing next to the likes of Ndidi, I think he's going to blossom into a fantastic centre mid. So yeah, for me, Leicester, 6th. 5th place, we are going to go with my boys at Spurs. Now for me, obviously I can talk about this a bit more in detail because I know I follow Spurs, they are my team and everything. I think signing Romero from Atalanta was a big move for us. We've been crying out for a big centre-back for years now. We've never really replaced Vertonghen. Toby Alderweireld has just left this season as well. And don't get me wrong, I've got nothing to complain about defensively as it stands. We're top of the table, we've not conceded a goal. Also with Kane staying, I'll be honest, I put my hands up and say I was fully expecting Kane to go to City this season. But the fact that the transfer fell through, they didn't want to pay the money, and he's now saying that he's going to devote this season to us, it's fantastic for us. So to me, it looks quite hopeful, and I suppose that's all you can be as a Spurs fan. No doubt the wheels will start falling off at some point in the season. Hopefully we can get a few points ahead of our opposition before that does happen, and we can try and land in around a Europa League spot. If we hit top 4, massive, huge, but I'll be happy with a Europa League finish this season. Now top 4, this is where it gets sticky. 4th place, I'm going with Liverpool. Now for me, I think Liverpool have got enough quality in their squad. Obviously they've got enough quality in their squad. They won the Premier League. However, they've not added to it, and they are an ageing side, Liverpool. They've been throwing contracts to their current players left, right and centre, but to me, the legs are going to go, I think. I know there were rumours of them trying to get Mbappe, but that looks very much dead in the water. Don't get me wrong, they bought in Konate from Leipzig, who does look like an absolute fridge of a bloke, and I think he's going to do wonders sat next to Van Dijk. However, I think they needed to add more than just a centre-back. I think they need a creative midfielder in the middle, maybe a new striker. Bobby Firmino doesn't look like as sharp as he could be. So to me, Liverpool are getting 4th. 3rd place is going to United. Now, don't get me wrong, United are 100% getting top 4 guaranteed this season. I'm not hearing anything else, right? There was an argument to say that they would finish outside the top 4 with their new signings, bar the last signing. But with the return of Cristiano Ronaldo, big CR7 to the Premier League, they have to get top 4. I don't think they're going to have enough to win it. However, my only worry with United is how quickly they can gel those new players into the team. I think Ronaldo's a given. I think he'll be fine. You put him in any team in the world and he'll score you goals. However, I do think Jadon Sancho is going to be one to find it quite difficult to adapt to Premier League life. But that remains to be seen. And like I say, I'm always happy to put my hands up when I'm wrong, but I think Ronaldo's definitely going to help them get top 4. They're not going to get first in my opinion. I don't know if they're going to fully go on and win the entire Premier League, but to me, 3rd place is where they're going to be sat. Now, the runner-up, 2nd place for the Premier League this season is between Chelsea or City, and for me, 2nd place is going to be City. Don't get me wrong, City are a phenomenal team. I do think they have a good crack at winning the Champions League this season. However, the fact that they didn't get Messi, they didn't get Kane, and they didn't get Ronaldo proves to me they are going to be lacking up top this season. I think Grealish is going to do really well in Guardiola's system with all the talent around him. It's definitely an upgrade from his old Villa side. I think if they manage to sign Kane, Messi or CR7 this window, or like a Haaland maybe, I reckon you'd easily put them first place to finish as champions. But to me, that's where they lack. But as we've already seen this season, they got caught out from a 1-0 against Spurs, and I think that could happen with a few more teams because they just don't have that threat up top. And yeah, so for that reason alone, I'm putting City at second. In first place, as you probably already guessed it, Chelsea. I think with the addition of Romelu Lukaku, he's such a big signing. He's going to be an absolute challenge for any defence he goes against. What this means for Werner, I don't know. They might try to push him out wide, but I don't know how Werner fits into this team now. But Havertz looks good this season. They've added Saul from Atletico into their midfield. And to me, Chelsea just seem like the most overall solid team. They've got a good keeper. Defence is solid with experience of Thiago Silva and Azpilicueta. It just looks very dangerous in every aspect. So to me, that's what settles it. I think they're too powerful in every aspect of the field. I think they're going to dominate most games. I don't think they're going to ship a lot of goals this season. So for me, Chelsea are going to be the winners of the Premier League for the 21-22 season. But that is it from me. If you did enjoy the video, drop a like, subscribe, leave a comment if you think I've been absolutely waffling or if you agree with anything I've said. I do stream on Twitch if you want to come over and watch me play FIFA. We'll talk about football, talk about anything really. Other than that, I'll see you in the next video. Peace.
Say it again. Why have you rung me?
Basically, I've just called a random number and I need you to choose either left, middle or right for me.
Okay, choose the right one.
Yes!
Have you won anything?
Yes, I won.